Hello, wonderful person, and welcome to The Power of a Woman's Belly. I'm going to start by saying that the first time I remembered having shame about my belly or some sort of hate or even disgust was around 11 years old. That's when the hormones had really kicked in, started with my period, and started to get a little belly. And I remember hearing comments, seeing comments about my belly, like suck it in and pull it in. And I have this one picture of me standing with my best friend at the time was a girl named Patty Smith in Chalfont, Pennsylvania. I have no idea where she is, but I remember her and her family and love them so much. And I'm standing with her, and I believe her little sister's name was Caroline. And I can see the way I'm standing that my belly is pushed out a little bit. And I can even, at 57 years old, when I'm recording this, I can feel I don't know what to call it, the impressions, the old tracks of like, oh, Cindy, you should have stood up straighter and pulled your belly in. And that's been a lifelong journey for me and many women and perhaps many men. I don't know about people who identify as trans or non-gender, how they're feeling about their bellies, because I don't have that experience. But I know for a lot of women, and including me, having a belly that isn't rock hard, tight, flat abs, perfect belly button, no scars, no stretch marks from having babies, no sagging from whatever might happen. It's difficult. It's difficult to feel confident with so much that has been put out about how a woman should have a small belly. And perhaps just white women. I've seen a lot of literature and research about when things started to shift, when the culture became even more heinously suppressive of Black people and tried to get white people, and especially like white women, to be afraid of Black women who had more curvaceous bodies. And then the white women were encouraged to eat less and get thin and, be more in control or whatever it might be. I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 1800s, but I know that there is a deep overlay in our society with how the power of a woman's belly, the real beauty and power and strength of it, becomes something to be pushed down, shamed, hidden, girdled up. Jesus, speaking of girdled up, my grandmother was the queen of girdles. Her era, she was born in 1916, and one of my early memories of my childhood was going with her and her best friend, who I called Aunt Helen, and I'm still dear friends with her, one of her nieces today. We would go to the store, I think it was Strawbridge and Clothier, and they would go girdle shopping. Now here I am, like little 5 or 6-year-old Cindy Lou, and I'm so excited to be going to the mall with my grandmother and my Aunt Helen, who were a hilarious trip. And watching those ladies buy girdles or try them on, even though they shouldn't have, or whatever it was, around their Italian legs and bellies. I remember just watching that, and I thought it was kind of fun. I didn't have any idea that there was something happening there that I'm not going to say that it was bad, but maybe not something that I would want to have continued. And I remember once even going with my Aunt Helen to return a girdle. Now, you're not supposed to return undergarments, and watching her stand there, talk to the sales attendant, trying to return this taupe piece of reinforced polymer, whatever material it was. And I'm grateful for those memories. They were not bad memories. They're really adorable memories. Another one, I wonder if my grandmother has left the realm long enough for me to share this story. I hope so, Grams. I'm sorry if not. So one of the funny things my grandmother would do is when she would get ready for bed at night, and she stayed with me a whole bunch, in the last 20-some years of her life. And certainly I spent a lot of time with her when I was a youngster. So when Grams would brush her teeth and put like Pond's cold cream all over her face, and really in the early days she used to put clips in her little curls and wear some sort of cap on her hair with toilet paper to keep the curls intact for when she slept. I mean, it was really something she would process, she would go through at night. But she would go to the bathroom and she wouldn't want to pull her girdle up, because as soon as she got into her bedroom, she'd have to take the girdle off. And it's a thing to get those kind of girdles up. It's not easy. It's like wrestling a beast. So she would waddle with the girdles around her knees from the bathroom to the bedroom, wherever she was. And that was quite a scene. And I remember once, all of my kids have seen Grams's hiney. Hiney is a word we would use for buttocks, which I really love, hiney. Have all seen that scene. And I remember one specific scene that was probably from, like, I don't know, 20 years ago. My now ex-husband was at the bottom of the stairs of the bedroom and was going up, and Grams was just making her journey out of the bathroom with the girdle down, so she's coming front facing out. And he comes up the stairs as she's coming front facing, turning out, and he comes back down and says something to the effect of, well, I can never unsee that. That can never be gone. I mean, Grams, God bless her. And again, this is all about pulling in a woman's belly, like making it flatter, making it more presentable, making clothes fit better, making whatever it is that we were doing to make a woman's belly more flat. And I don't want to decrease stock in Spanx or whatever the Kardashians' new line is with shapewear and all that kind of stuff. I think that we can use our bodies as a creative palette, makeup as something of creativity. And if you want to wear something to shape your body because you're having fun with the creative form called your body, I mean, have at it. That is no problem for me. But after years of wearing girdles and Spanx and like, oh, you could buy that dress if just get a girdle, honey, and you can wear it with that. And then putting on what I call these restraining devices, what I call girdles now, putting on the restraining device and then going to some grand function and being so freaking uncomfortable, let alone if you have to go to the bathroom, because first of all, trying to pull those things off is crazy. And then they have this little thing at the bottom where you just kind of like open it up so you don't have to take it down. And I can tell you, I don't think there's a flap ever made that really adequately holds everything back so you don't pee all down yourself and down the side of the Spanx or the girdle. Well, that might be not true, but that's certainly my experience. So that is kind of funny to look back at it and to remember it. But when I think about how many, I would say, years of my life have been focused in negative attention and negative feelings on my belly, as if the state of my belly literally impacted my safety, my security, my lovability, my ability to be wanted, to be whole, to be strong, to be accepted, to belong. There was such a grooved in, enmeshed link between the size of my belly and whether I was secure and lovable. And so, of course, I really do think I've done most of the eating ways that human beings have put out, which we have called diets, with all of that amending. My grandmother was always on a diet. The first time she took me to Weight Watchers with her and my Aunt Helen, I think I was probably 11 or 12, and watching them weigh in and do all the things that they would do. And then they would do these crazy things. My story digresses a little. That's just how my mind works these days. What happened was my grandmother was a crazy great Italian cook, and my Aunt Helen was a great cook too. And they were Italian women of round size who loved to eat and also wanted to lose weight. And so they would do these things like do like a simple exercise for like a minute, and then they could have a cupcake, which that's what they taught to me. I remember my grandmother giving me 2 Campbell's soup cans, 2 cream of tomato Campbell's soup cans, and having me do 10 curls and then go up and down this 6-stair flight of stairs 6 times and saying, now, honey, you can have cake. Which, first of all, that won't even nearly do anything about the calories, but there was some sort of, you had to earn that in terms of exercise, but it didn't really make sense. So there's always this focus on specifically the belly, because that's where my weight really would go, was to the front of my belly. So this then linking that I have had in my lifetime, and many people have had, and many women have had, around how their belly looks and whether they're going to be approved of or fit in or be strong or be attractive and all of that kind of stuff, reached a real crescendo for me when, in fact, I became very thin, got very tight abdomens and all that kind of stuff. Not so in the recent past. I don't think I said that right. I guess it was probably like 5, 6 years ago, maybe less, maybe more. And what I found is that in fact, I was not more safe. I was not more wanted. I was not more protected. I was not more secured. Secure. I was not more lovable. I was not more loving. It really had nothing to do with anything having to do with these deep attributes that we so seek. My experience was, in fact, the opposite. When I became in that form, those things that I even thought that I had dissolved or were destroyed in ways that were kind of mind-blowing to me. So I have, in this struggle, I'll say, in this struggle to feel beautiful, whole, happy, strong, loving, lovable, safe, protected, in this journey to feel all of that and all of the waste of energy that I have put due to whatever I've read, seen, talked about, learned, reinforced, cultivated, all of the things into a belly that looks like a supermodel's belly has been energy that I could have been using to not only serve my own deep, vibrant health and those of the ones that I love, but for the whole world. And I think that women, and I'll speak for white women and white women of privilege because that was the demographic that I have been in, I think that we have been duped, knowingly or unknowingly, into this continual hamster wheel, sham, destructive shell game that keeps us from owning our true power when we're so hyper-focused on our body, and especially the power that comes from our belly. Our belly, the belly of a woman, is literally the place where new life grows. Mostly everyone's conceived in a belly, specifically the uterus or wherever it might be in, well, I guess it's only the uterus. Where else would you be conceiving? I was thinking fallopian tubes there, but you can have that in a tubal pregnancy and blah, blah, blah. Now, I know that some people are conceived, the conception happens in some sort of laboratory when we need help being fertilized, the eggs being fertilized in vitro. But then those embryos are implanted in a woman's uterus, and every human being comes to this world through the nurturing care of a woman's belly, of not just her uterus, but the protective organs around them and skin and tissue. And that dreaded word, that F word, fat. I mean, that has become, F-U-C-K, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on podcast. I think I can, but I don't know. That is way more acceptable than fat. I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter and I was having some issues towards the end of the pregnancy and she was needing to be induced. It turned out that the cord was wrapped around her neck twice in utero and she wasn't moving the way she should because there was restriction. When she would move, the blood flow would be cut off. And they were doing a stress test on my belly, which is they put stuff on the belly and they induce movement and see what happens with the baby's heart rate. And they were having a difficult time getting the baby's heart rate. And I was a little concerned. And the nurse said, the baby is fine. The baby's there. It's just that the extra maternal adipose tissue on this side of your belly is, what is the right word? Is presenting a problem. And I said, what's like maternal adipose tissue? Like, I didn't even know what she was saying. Like, I didn't understand that, which really is what she was saying was, you've got some extra fat there. And it was hard for the monitor to pick it up. And I remember that so clearly. So there I am in the throes of worrying about my child, and it's my first baby, and still feeling the sting of shame around my belly. And with my second child, I remember a few weeks before he was born, I had gotten a bad cold because he was born in January. And I was coughing so much, I thought I was in labor and went into the hospital with the doctor's advice. And I had such incredible stretch marks on my belly that they were kind of like purplish. And the nurse who was putting the machines on to monitor the baby's heart rate was very contemptuous of me. And she said, "Why would you write with magic marker on your belly?" And I said, "What?" She goes, "Why would you do that?" And I said, "I didn't write a magic mark." And I looked down and I said, "Those are swollen stretch marks." And she said, "Oh." But again, that sting of like, oh my gosh. So here, this is 27 years later that young man was born, and I'm still feeling that. Oh, and here's another story. So one of my dear friends and I, we were going to the Galapagos, I think it was like in 2003. And there was issues with, there was all sorts of delays and flight issues. So we were going to have difficulty making our flight. And if that happened, we would miss, it would be a whole slippery slope. We would miss the little flight and we would miss the boat. And then, once they're out in the equator, we're not getting there. And there's this huge security line, and we were just like devastated standing there. And this security guard came and said to me, "Ma'am, since you're expecting, you can go to the front of the line." And I was like, "What?" And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, this man thinks I'm pregnant. So I quickly put my belly out and I put my hands on my belly. I said, "Thank you so much. I am expecting." Well, I thought in my head, I'm expecting a whole lot of things. I'm expecting to get on this flight on time. I'm expecting whatever it is. And that's how we got to the front of the line and made it to the Galapagos, because I was expecting. Oh, Lordy. Bellies, bellies, bellies. I also feel that those kind of experiences might not happen to other people because they didn't have the stigma and the life issues that I have had to work with and play with now and heal around it. When, I guess it was about 3 years after my youngest child was born, I ended up having a tummy tuck. I ended up having surgery because at that point the skin was so loose and I had lost so much weight, and I had surgery for that. And that was a very horrible experience for me in every way, including having to be rehospitalized and having terrible reactions to pain medications, which I cannot take at all anymore. I can't even take Advil. My body rejects even Tylenol. It's quite a ride in the body of Cindy Lou. But that was, I remember thinking when I was in the throes of the pain after that surgery and seeing the scars, which they weren't even scars yet, and thinking, my God, I this is going to sound really harsh, and it really is a harsh statement. I chose elective surgery to mutilate my own body. And those were the words that were going through my head as I was in the throes of pain. God bless us. God bless us, everyone. Of course, we know, we've heard it a million times. The key to happiness is not what happens, it's our attitude towards it. It's about self-compassion and acceptance and seeing the true radiant body. Because here's a spiritual truth, is that the body, its job is to yield to the claims of the spirit and to be a vehicle for the release of divine life. I'm going to say that again. The job of the body is to yield to the claims of the spirit and to be a vehicle for the release of divine life, and further to be a literal instrument for bringing the kingdom of heaven down on earth. And when I feel the truth of those words and I feel the impact of them, I can take a deep breath and relaxing my belly and thinking that the claims of my spirit are to love freely and without conditions, to allow myself to relax when I need to relax and act when I need to act, and to let go of the worship of impermanence so that I can enjoy the impermanence that my body has and so many else's bodies has. I don't think that was good grammar. So many else's. The whole thing was really off. But such is the speaker in me in this moment. So what I'd like to do for this next few moments is to bring us to the awareness that we are connected to a greater source, a greater power, however you know it, God, Great Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, Baba, imagination, science, love, universe, goddess, divine, whatever word we know for something greater than ourselves. And we are going to now take this opportunity, to take such a cleansing deep breath into our belly and see if we can release it. I am releasing. My belly. Letting it relax. Letting it just bow out. Letting it be free, even though I'm elongating my spine right now, so the cerebral spinal fluid can be free and the energy can flow up and down. And in this moment, we're going to call for guidance to allow our perception of our bodies, and especially if you're a woman, your belly, and if you're not a woman, the belly of any woman and all women. We're going to call on this energy to support us, to allow our belly to radiate love and light and the power that it has in this space that conceives human life, that grows these new babies from the zygote and the embryos and the fetus, and the kind of replication of cells and the detailed amount of seemingly miraculous activity that takes place for that sperm and that egg, those microscopic facets of a masculine form and a feminine form coming together to host new life, to call a soul to it. We want to be able to highlight and illuminate and empower the vibrant health of this place, the natural strength of it, and our deep reverence and appreciation for how good it feels. Because here's the truth: whether you have what would be like classically spectacular, model-worthy, taut six-pack abs, or whatever abs women have, maybe women have eight-pack abs, I don't really know the terminology, or you have a belly that is soft or a belly that is very big, the sensation of touching our body, the feeling of it, not just the sight, is what we really want to revel in. So we are calling on the forces of the heavens and the earth to start to realign our perspective and our awareness and our respect and reverence and true fresh sight being illuminated right now to dissolve the bindings, the limiting beliefs, the shames, the harshness, the disgust, the contempt, the diversions of energy that we have allowed to happen around the shape of a woman's belly. And I want you to imagine that from your solar plexus, which is the space right above the belly button, a little bit above the belly button, from your belly button itself, which also has a chakra, the navel chakra, from the space under your belly button and above your pubic bone, which is your vitality chakra or your sex chakra, even wrapping around to the back to the meng chakra, which is really kind of where the adrenals are on your spine, to the back solar plexus chakra, which is right behind it. All of these energies, including the spleen chakra front and back, the liver chakra front and back, just the mentioning of it is bringing the highest love and light and purification to these energies and to the organs inside the belly, to the reproductive system, to the digestive system, to all of those organs, to the muscles, to the bones, to the adipose tissue, to that fat, that cushion, that storehouse of energy that we can have in that way. And letting it balance into proper proportion of attention. So that from this moment forward, there will be a true laser-focused attention that we can share from the depths of our soul to the true healing for ourself and humanity that is being transmuted from all of that harsh attention and suppressed energy that we have in the past, so either unwittingly or so painfully complicit with. This holding back of pure acceptance, of pure love. Taking deep breaths using the power of your imagination, which I think is one of the most beautiful synonyms for that word, God. That imagination power, seeing these chakras spin in colorful petals, seeing the belly move in and out with the breath, and then letting yourself imagine that every belly in humanity is breathing in and out in sync. And as this happens, the greatest and highest light forces of the heavens and the earth that serve us in the energetic and the subtle realm are cleansing and revitalizing this precious part of a woman's form. And it's realigning the minds of all human beings in accordance with divine sight and divine perspective, so that the attention that is directed towards a belly is just in proportion to the reverence for it. Let yourself imagine and feel the breath beat. Imagine what it would be like for every human being to be breathing in and breathing out, and letting the belly expand and contract and be brought into the beautiful, divinely orchestrated place that it was always meant to serve. And so, dear people, in this space where we are making more precious our awareness, raising our consciousness around the power of a woman's belly, the seat of new life, the seat of new potential, the seat of strength, the seat of hope, the seat of nurturing, the seat of miracles. Let's imagine now for ourselves what we can do with all this extra energy that is not being bound up anymore. And imagine now that becoming in front of you, there is just building a great orb of golden light. And all of the energy that you can muster to bring into a huge ball of light now, pure light. And you're going to offer that light first down through your root chakra, through your feet, into the Mother Earth, giving this energy to the Mother Earth, this round planet, to be able to use this energy now for the healing of our planet and all of the creatures of our planet and the elements of our planet, including us. And then taking a deep breath again and gathering another huge orb of light. And then raising it up over your form and bringing it down over your body, cleansing and revitalizing the physical cells, the organ systems, the thought processes, the chakra systems, the meridians, the auric fields, the energetic and electric fields that come off your body, and let everything be purified in this divine shower of golden, radiant, revitalizing light. And then as I bring this to completion, I'll share with you just the beginning words of a song by Katie Tunstall, and it's called Suddenly I See. And it starts like this. It says, her face is a map of the world. It's a map of the world. You can see she's a beautiful girl. She's a beautiful girl. And whenever I think of that song, I always think of what if the beginning words were, my belly is a map of the world. It's a map of the world. My belly is a map of the world. I feel that way. We love the way the Grand Canyon looks, and the clouds with their billowing and bumpy texture looks. We love waves and the glistening movement. We love the striations and glaciers, and we're mesmerized by all the shapes and sounds that come from nature. So why not consider reveling in the striations of our belly, the waves of our belly, what people call cellulite? Maybe we could just call them waves. Those bumps that in any other aspect of nature we find so delightful. And if your belly happens to have scars like mine does, like when we look at the Grand Canyon, even with the different colors, we're in awe. Could we look at those scars with the same kind of wonder and awe? And I will make a call to all of those people that love a woman, and specifically that love a woman intimately, to find out what worshiping in alignment with wholeness and truth, worshiping, adoring, revering, and delighting in a woman's belly would mean to you. And I would ask on my behalf and behalf of all women that have felt this harshness and this shame and this disgust and this force, this hiding or this manipulation of our belly, to help us release that preoccupation that diverts our power to live in a world where the children that we grow in our bellies don't have to suffer or be small or be hurt or feel hopeless, so that we can redirect that energy into healing this planet, healing the limited beliefs and dissolving them, and bringing new, vital, exciting, expansive energies and ideas to our planet to uplift one and all. Help me, help us with that. I would so appreciate that. And I believe that you will receive enormous benefits from falling in love with whether it's your belly or a woman you love's belly. Oh, what a tender, sweet place for us to be in. And the paradox of gentleness and strength that comes from a woman's belly. Thank you so much, dear wonderful people. Thank you for being with me on this journey today. Thank you for inhabiting your belly and being willing to interface with other people's bellies in a way that uplifts one and all. And to have some fun and maybe blow some good old-fashioned raspberries in a belly whenever you can. Whether you like raspberries personally or not, blowing raspberries is quite delightful to give and receive. Love and blessings, wonderful people. If you enjoyed this episode, wonderful person, and you'd like to share the love, the power, and the possibilities, please post about it on social media and share it with your people. I'd really appreciate that. And to find out more about the Galactic Council of Women, all genders welcome, or how to join or work with me one-on-one, go to galacticcounciljoin.com.